All right, good evening, everybody. We're getting the weekly candle closes right pretty soon in 10 seconds. I think Bitcoin's actually going to have its weekly candle open above the conversion line. I think it's going to come down a little bit. Let's see if the math plays out in 1 second. And here we go. Yeah. So there's the new conversion line, 88,238. And I'm going to look at that as support. And believe it or not, this is the first weekly candle open above it since way back here in 2025 October, right? That was the last time it opened up a weekly candle above it. So now not only is it the goal to open, but also to close above it. So that leaves still a pretty wide range for Bitcoin, right? You can go back down to the 88s or 87s, or even the 100-week moving averages is still 86,877 as well. It can touch all of that maybe one more time before it goes higher. But ultimately, this is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for the past 9 candles to basically just catch up to price. And that's what the conversion line's all about. And there we are. So 88.2, I'm going to watch that the most, but still not free and clear just yet. We need to break above the 94,357 next in order to have any bullish breakout after that. So range bound still. But I like this development. It's getting better and better for continuation higher. Ethereum, same situation. Look at the conversion line came down. It's at 30.35. And guess what? It closed and opened a weekly candle above all of these indicators. The 100-week moving average, the 50-week moving average, the conversion line. This is the first time too, right? This is the first time since back here in October as well. So we're looking at a possibility to stay in the $3,000 zone, right? Maybe it does want to retest 30.35. I don't know, but this is setting the stage for continuation up to 3,400. So we cannot be upset about the way this candle closed, or yesterday's or last week's candle right here. We can't be upset at how it closed, and we also can't be upset about how this new candle just opened. So I like it. We're going to keep watching this whole 3,100, even down to the 30.35. Stay above it. 34.23 will be next resistance to break. DOGE, another weekly candle close above the 200-week moving average, but it's still battling this 13,847 fib. That's fine, right? It's just not ready to break above the conversion line yet. But if it's going to be like anything else, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, then I think maybe even next week could be that time to maybe start to try to break above it. So it might be delayed a little bit, but that's okay, right? We're going to keep watching this 200-week moving average as support, 13,698 right there. ADA also did not break anything for resistance, but that's fine too. It's holding market symmetry down here perfectly with the 45-degree angle and the arc. So this whole 36-cent zone is the target to maintain until it's ready to continue towards the 52.81 above. ALGO also not ready to break that conversion line either. It's going to be a battle, 13.45. This week will be the week to try to close above it in order to continue higher, but it's still holding the high time frame zone down here at the 10 and 11 cent zone for support. XRP also is not ready to break that conversion line. It really tried, right? It went straight up to this angle, rejection, even got rejected by the conversion line too. But the developments of inside the cloud, how it quickly reclaimed it, that's good, right? And actually, price is still staying inside of the cloud, even with throughout all this volatility. And people think that's a really ugly looking candle because it's a huge wick up top. It kind of is, but at the same time, it's holding, right? And then also at the same time, we can look at the 2-week chart, and it held the 2-week cloud perfectly as well. And it also got rejected at the 2-week conversion line up there. So all in all of this zone looks really, really nice, right? Even if it does need to come back down to the 2-week cloud around 192, 191, I think that's fine. But ultimately, we're just going to keep watching that bottom of the weekly cloud, and that's around 205. So I'll see if that can hold, and maybe this can be the week where it tries to break back above that conversion line. It wasn't ready last week, but maybe this could be the week. 209. 34, right? That is the resistance to break this week to go higher. XLM also not ready to break that conversion line either. It's at 23,079, but we are at a point where it keeps on trying to break resistance now, and it's not succeeding yet. which means, technically speaking, our high time frame support is still that 21 cent zone right down below. And the big resistance to break is this 23, 24 cent zone. So perhaps this is a week that it can challenge it one more time to try to break above. Solana, another weekly candle that opened above the weekly conversion line. You can't hate that, right? That's a beautiful development. And we can also see 131, even the arc down here, 129. That is our support zone target to maintain this week in order to continue to the 160s. That's really our next high time frame resistance. So this could be pretty explosive if this conversion line truly can hold, right? The last time it was above it, well, that was back in October as well. So this is something really, really nice for bullish continuation. Link, not ready yet. It came so close to opening above it, but that's 1331. Still going to be lots of pressure. The blue GAN level is holding. That's 1292. The 200-week moving average is also holding. And it's also like flattening out finally, right? It's been downward sloping for a long time, but it's finally flattening out. Maybe even going to start to be upward sloping soon, which is going to be great for trying to push price higher. We want upward sloping moving averages, upward sloping everything for an uptrend, right? That's what we want. So not yet, not ready yet. 1331, that's going to be the target to break 1280s, 1250s. Keep holding that as support. Near, not breaking any kind of resistance either, but it got back above that 155 zone. That's what I've been watching. This October 10th liquidity grab right here. Reclaiming that is crucial for continuation. So stay above 155. $2 is next. Fetch also had a look at that, very bullish weekly candle open and close, right? It even closed the weekly candle above that conversion line as well. So now 26.14, 26.72. I think that could be solid support now. We saw it not just this week, but last week too. It closed the weekly candle above and had continuation. So this, in my opinion, is looking like it's set up to continue back to the 40 cent zone, 42.86. That's our next high time frame resistance above. And I think there is a great chance now being back on top of that conversion line. The last time it was opening a candle was right here, but that was just a huge, the huge liquidity grab right there. Very, very large. October 10th, right? But the last time it was like solid above it, it was basically back in May, right? Where it was spent many, many candles above it. There has not been any time since then where it spent many candles above it. So this could be the start of some bullish momentum towards the 42 cent zone. Tau, same situation, above the conversion line. I like it. 271.90. Watch that for support. 291.72. Got to break that in order to go to the 330s, 350s, and above. HBAR, kind of like DOGE, almost exactly like DOGE, really. It closed below the fib, but it held the 200-week moving average, so we're still there, still in the same zone, right? 11.33 and resistance 12.02 up to this 13-cent conversion line above. AVAX, we can see it did. Oh, wow, look at that. Everybody hates AVAX, but it opened a weekly candle above the conversion line. Wow, I wasn't expecting that from little AVAX. Yeah, see, it opened right here. You can see 1371 it opened at right there, and the conversion line is 1356. So there it is. It opened above it. So let's keep our eye on that conversion line for that potential to go to the 1682 above. Looks like a bunch of single moms. What the heck does that mean? These candles, they look like single moms? I don't get it. Render has been fabulous. Like, look at Render actually doing some powerful stuff, and look at this weekly candle close just now. It literally just did a giant 29% candle that actually the week before that was 50%, and this one closed above the baseline too. So this quickly regained important support fast. 257, that's going to be the area to maintain now, and the next level is 281. Then we got the angle right here around 305, $3 basically, and then 330 above. But Render, it kind of, once it did this liquidity grab underneath the orange level, that was really the multi-year demand zone. And that's what I've been talking about all last year, all of December, all of November, really. I've been talking about this multi-year demand zone, and so many coins are entering it now. And if they can do more what Render just did, I think we'll see some great things this crypto cycle. So that's why we shouldn't really be depressed in these multi-year demand zones because they can surprise you, right? And render is a perfect example of that. Went below this orange level, got a lot of liquidity lower, but it was just a low back in 2023. Also a low back in March of 2023. So that was the zone, right? That was the zone to maintain, and it did, and a very positive reaction off of it. So this is the fear to really buy, not really after it breaks out, but when it's painful, right? I didn't buy any of this. I wasn't really focusing too much on it, but you can see if render can do it, so many other charts can do it as well. So baseline is what we're going to watch for this week, 257, to try to go to the 270s and above. And ICP still holding that GAN level here. So 282 support, 350 resistance. There's absolutely no change week over week over week. So we're still there. Gotta break out of 350 in order to get more bullish. So it's not there at all yet. PEPE had a big breakout, got rejected basically at the 382, but it's above the conversion line. It was one of the first to break above it, right? And so is it a leading indicator now? Is PEPE leading the market because it broke the conversion line first and then almost retested it? It could be, right? But this is bullish now because it reclaimed this lost support, right? That is the most bullish thing about this chart, regaining this multi-year level here, a big liquidity grab underneath it. But there it is, 53, 54, like this 0.54, 0.53. That's our support zone in order to break that 0.73 above. And next is SHIB. Also is not ready to completely stay above that conversion line. It's trying, right? What did it open at? Let's see here. So 0.8454 and 0.844. Yeah, it actually opened above it. Technically speaking, yeah, it did open above that conversion line. So we can still watch that as a potential support for SHIB here, and kind of like PEPE, but there is a possibility of retesting a little bit lower if it can't hold. But it's okay because this is still the same multi-year demand zone that I've been talking about before. So nothing really has changed. It just got rejected by this previous support that flipped to resistance, right? That 0.10 right here, previous support. So it needs to regain that 0.100 in order to get more bullish. But the setup is there, right? Its setup is there to maybe consolidate a little bit more in this current zone, or perhaps a little bit lower around the 0.80 or 0.79 or so before continuation. WIF also tried to get above that conversion line. So this is one of the few that opened above it and actually closed below it last week and then opened a new candle below it. So it's still a battle, but that's okay because a lot of other charts are still battling that conversion line too. So we're just going to keep watching that 0.38 down to the 0.30, and that's our support zone for the potential to try to break this 50-cent barrier. And this is a big one. It's a big barrier to break. Let's see if it can do it. DAG, the conversion line is getting so close now to the price. It's been so far away this whole time, so far away, but now it's finally catching up. So maybe this week, next week could start to put some pressure on it and maybe even try to open a weekly candle above it. The last time it really opened a weekly candle above it was back in July, but that was still part of the downtrend. And now that we're in a multi-year potential demand zone, right? This was the zone before it broke out. So it finally, after all these years, got back to that zone. So it has potential to hold, and market symmetry did hold perfectly for over a month so far. So if this trend continues, then that support is going to be 0.0118 now, and the resistance 0.013729. And once we get a candle close and open above it, there could be some momentum back to the 0.17 and above. CAS still getting rejected by the conversion line 0.451. And then we got the support down here that I'm watching. Basically, these bodies of these candles, these lows here at the 0.439. That's what I'm watching to try to break this arc. Still is a battle, though. Still a battle. Not ready to go to the 0.572, but it's setting up that way, right? It's also in a multi-year zone as well. It's basically a big previous resistance zone here, flipping to support. That's what it is. So it's not anything scary on the high time frame. And in actuality, this is the first time it's ever went for a bigger macro level higher low, right? It's never done it on the way up. So this is the first time it's doing that. So it's actually a healthy development for continuation in the future. And ultimately, all I really care about, I'm not saying it's going to get back down there, but all I really care about is maintaining this 03449. Anywhere in this zone, in my opinion, is still bullish for continuation. And VELO is also still closing candles above the conversion line, and that is 00658. I'll be watching that for support, and then resistance here around 1 penny, 011, 012, 013 above. QNT did close below that 45-degree angle, but we've been just oscillating back and forth, and it's still holding the 236. So support is holding. There's no attempt to break in any kind of resistance just yet, so it's more patience on this chart as well, because it's just trying to stabilize. That's it. $70. Oh, look at that. It closed and opened a new weekly candle above that conversion line. That's bullish, right? Bullish for continuation. The next level to break is this 191.79, and it did get rejected this week. That's not a surprise. It's a previous support that was lost, so now it's resistance. So we just got to get some weekly candle closes above it before it goes back to the 240s and above. But this is also a multi-year zone, right? We saw back in 2024 that this was a big resistance zone, and now it's kind of flipping to support in that area. So this is okay, right? This is still a perfect zone following market symmetry, that 45-degree angle perfectly. And 163, 191, that's the zone for this coming week. We can look at CRV also opening a weekly candle above the conversion line there, 0.3926. Let's focus on that for a potential support. And then we got 42.44 as resistance, still not ready to break it just yet. So it's going to be a battle in order to go to the 54.47. ZEC did close below the baseline again, just like it did last time over here. Now the question remains, can it recover, right? Can it recover? I know there's a lot of fear out there with it now because of the devs, but it's still a bullish chart. And I've been saying this whole time, basically the last couple of months, I've been saying it's going to be bullish whether it goes to 372 or 258. It's going to be bullish. Why? Because you go back in history, look at this zone. Even this zone right here, that's a previous resistance. Even this 188 zone, that's a previous resistance too. All of that is acceptable to backtest. So no matter what the narrative is, this chart, it just proves exactly why I do not want to buy after a breakout, right? I'd rather buy the pain down here. If you just accumulated this one in June of 2023 to March, April 2024, and then March of like multi-year accumulation, it would have paid off a lot more than just chasing this one, right? This is why I'm not really interested in buying it. But if it ever did come back down to 258 or 180, I would actually consider buying it because I think the fib extensions are still coming, right? It was in the top 14 video for a reason because it still has potential to reach all of these. It still does, right? But I'm not going to buy it up here. I'm going to see if it can actually get to these previous resistance levels and flip them to support. So that's my target, 258, 188. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this has many, many weeks and months still left in it to get to the weekly cloud. So it can do whatever it wants until it gets closer and closer to that cloud. And that's going to be April, right? That's going to be April. So we have time. There's no rush to accumulate this chart right now because the huge breakout already happened. You'll have to ask your cat about the moms. All right, I'll ask the cat. JASMY, a very bullish breakout, and I'm going to call it a breakout. Why? Because it not only did it close above the conversion line, but it also regained this April low. It flipped that 382 fib back to support after a perfect hit of the 236. So you know what? If we can stay above this 00886, there is potential to continue up towards the 012, 013 and above. So we got the big zone here. It's even possible during the week to come back and retest that conversion line at 007. But this is something that we were waiting for. It's a nice 28% candle regaining multiple layers of support. And especially that lost April support is crucial for a continuation. So that's the main focus for this week. Litecoin, we're also going to watch this too. That is trying to break above the 200-week moving average. Not ready yet. It's kind of like QNT, how it's just not trying to break really resistance yet while it's still consolidating. And the important level really is 69.81 to maintain. So just range bound until it actually gets above this arc. You can see this arc has been pretty good resistance for a while now. So the goal this week, at least get above $80, maybe 83. But if not, the consolidation continues and maybe 69.81 is going to be that support zone. Let's do a few more. Yeah, if you guys have any requests, just type them in the YouTube chat too. I got one. Actually, yeah, I do have one request right here, AVICI. And here it is. There is no chart history really, but we can look at the daily chart and really just determine, let's do a high and low fib too. Really just determine that it's trying to break the daily cloud. And what I'm watching the most for support for this chart is really going to be the 418. Because if that can continue to hold, then we do see the potential to go to 472 and above. So I really need more data for this kind of a chart. It is bullish based off of the data that I have, right? But inevitably, it needs to break this cloud to go higher. So let's watch that 475 really start to close daily candles above it, and then 570s and all-time highs can come after that. But the most important thing for me is really maintaining that 418 to go higher. All right, let's look at INJ as well. A lot of people were talking about this one too, but support hit perfectly down here of that 50% fib, 420, and almost the orange GAN level. So we do have a previous resistance before the breakout that was back tested. So INJ does have that potential. So we're going to keep watching that for support until it's ready to break this 558 and 575 zone above. XDC, we can watch this one too and see that this chart is really trying to maintain this 0477, and it did not, right? It did not. So this is leading me to believe that maybe market symmetry of the angle below might be a magnet for price because of this breakout and a back test of it. So because of all this rejection and not maintaining levels, I do have to be a little bit cautious with this chart because it was set up to hold, right? It was set up to hold, but it did not. So we do have to watch that, and maybe it just wants to touch that orange angle down here at the 043, and maybe it just wants to go towards, maybe it's going to get rejected at this 0477. So can't really get more bullish until both these levels break as resistance, 047, 048. So watch that for resistance and the 043 as support. Let's do something else here. I was going to do Matic. Yeah, Polygon. I wanted to show this because of the double bottom. The double bottom potential right here. And that is from 2021. It finally back tested that low. And it even closed back above the conversion line here. So that has potential to go higher. 14 cents. Stay above it. 19.8. 20 cents. 21 cents is above to break. Yeah, I just did INJ. So I guess we'll do virtual. Oops, not that virtual. Let's do, which one is good? Oh, the crypto maybe? Yeah, this one. Yeah, so it actually opened up a weekly candle above the 98 cents and the conversion line here. So this is great. Regaining that support, right? It's still going to be a battle though. And you got the baseline, the 50-week, and then you got this 786 fib right here at 155. So that's going to be our resistance zone, 112 up to 155. But really, 98 down to 91 conversion line, that's the support zone to maintain now to go higher. So it is improvement. It's week over week improvement to go higher. We can even look at ONDO. People like to watch that one too. And, oh, I have the, I think I have the KuCoin one. Yeah, so ONDO did also close below some resistance, and I'm not too convinced about it wanting to continue higher. There is an opportunity to regain it last week, right? There was that opportunity to regain this 42-cent zone, and it did not. It refused to. So does that really mean it wants to go back and retest this 25-cent zone, previous resistance before the breakout? It's possible, right? So if this 42-cent zone actually remains resistance for some time, it could put pressure on price and make it go lower and lower and lower. So 25 cents could be that target if this cannot get reclaimed. So 42 cents, it's kind of mandatory to continue higher. All right, I think that's it for today. But so let's continue with the market summary here. And total, look at total. Even total opened a weekly candle above the conversion line. Nice. That's the first time that happened since basically October as well. So 3 trillion down to 2.98. That's the target I'm watching the most. And if successful, then it actually can go towards the top of the weekly cloud, which is around 3.3 trillion. So the setup is there to stay inside the cloud and go towards the top of the cloud as long as that 3 trillion zone keeps holding as support. Total ES, got to look at that too. Eliminate the stable coins, and same thing. Exactly the same situation. Above the conversion line, maintain the 100-week moving average. We still have the 2.89 trillion resistance above, along with the top of the cloud around 3.05, 3.06. That's also the 50-week moving average as well. But same thing, right? We're seeing this across the board with the bigger charts, right? With Total, with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, a lot of charts. Solana, they're opening above the conversion line, ready to go higher. So this can mean support has really good potential now to hold here at the 2.71 and go towards the 2.89 and above. And lastly here, we'll take a look at others. What do you know? Even others opened a weekly candle above the conversion line. First time since basically November of last year, right? Since it lost that support. So not only did the 200-week moving average hold as support, but getting back above that conversion line can mean 233 and 249 could be next. So this has potential to go higher too. This is really good for the altcoins here, because if this 212 can actually hold as support now, then it's just going to be one direction, and that's going to be up. So let's be a little bit more optimistic this week, especially for the coins that opened up above conversion line for the first time in a long time, many months, because now they have the potential to attack some of that resistance above. So good developments across the board with almost everything. Nearly almost everything had a very decent weekly candle close. So we're not going to be too upset about that. And we're not going to be upset about XRP, even though it's still bad in that conversion line, but it's still holding the cloud, right? It's still holding the cloud, and it's still holding the 2-week cloud as well. So even though the charts that are not breaking through their conversion line, it just means a little bit more time. They're lagging behind a little bit. So more patience as usual, but the setup there is staying more and more bullish for the majority of everything. So with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow